live SAT, and we will be working on a few of our problems from our study guide that I have for you today. If you want to go into the description, you can download that. I had a problem with my mic on my recent session, so hopefully everything is working fine now. Let's go ahead and have a look at the questions. So my name is Kathleen Jasper, and I help people prepare for the SAT and lots of other tests. I am an expert on these exams, and I want to show you some patterns you're going to see on the SAT that will help you get a really good score, right? So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go through all of these problems with you. You can get the problems for today and all the previous sessions by going to the link in the description, putting in your email, and then you'll be taken to a thank you page where you can download lots and lots of different study guides with a bunch of different problems here. Today, we are going to be doing 3 from reading and writing and 3 questions from math. The reading and writing is going to be focused on vocabulary. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. And let me go here. I want to get that Desmos off there. There we go. Oops. 1 second, please. All right. And we're sharing. Here we go. Okay. So let me just hide that Desmos calculator since we're doing reading and writing first. All right. So if we have a look at our reading and writing questions, mine are set up a little bit different. They're not going to look like this on test day, but I want to use the whole screen so you can see it better. So mine look a little bit different. But anytime you are on the exam and you see that we have these one-word answers here in the reading and writing, we're probably talking about vocab. You can see that I have a space here for a word to go, and it says the logical and precise word or phrase. The reason why I say this is because you're going to have 3 or 4 of these all together. You don't have to keep reading this right here. If you see one-word answers here and a blank and the logical, precise word or phrase at the end, we're talking vocabulary. They want you to put the right word in here. So let's have a look at our answer choices first. Again, I'm talking you through this. I'm taking a little bit longer, but if you're taking this test and you're being strategic, you're quickly going and you're going skeptical, observant, critical, confident. Skeptical and critical are sort of similar. I'm going to cross those off just for the time being. Hopefully now I've narrowed it down to 50-50 between B and D. We always want to cross off or be cognizant of things that are too similar. There's only one correct answer, either A, B, C, or D. So anything that's too similar can normally be eliminated. So let's have a look right here. For writer Zora Neale Hurston, being blank was an essential part of her storytelling because signals to me that I'm about to define what this is. Because she immersed herself in the culture and dialects of the Southern Black communities she wrote about, Hurston's novels vividly depicted the richness and diversity of African-American life during the 20th century. All right, skeptical and observant are still out for me. They're negative. This is not a negative piece, and they don't work. Being skeptical, that's not immersing yourself. Being critical, that's not going to get you any love from any community. So she's immersing herself. That means she is being observant. Now, confident doesn't fit here. D is out. But notice I was down to 50-50 before I even read this thing. So you want to do that on test day. You want to be thinking strategically. Think like a test maker, not a test taker. Let's go ahead and look at question 2 here. Again, it's vocab, and I can see a negligible, an acceptable, an imperceptible, and a substantial. Well, A and C are pretty much the same thing. A negligible amount and an imperceptible amount are very small. Negligible means you neglected to give me any. Like, let's say you gave me a negligible amount of macaroni and cheese on my plate at the barbecue, right? Well, that means you didn't give me very much. You neglected me on my mac and cheese, right? And imperceptible is imperceived. You can't even see it. It's imperceptible. You cannot perceive it. That means it's very tiny. So A and C are too similar in relation to this, to vocabulary. So we're going to cross them off. That gives us down to B and D. Again, let's have a look here. Dr. Elena Martinez and her team at Marine Biology. And you know what? It's all one sentence here. I might have started. Let's see. I'm going to start here. Determine whether environmental factors such as water temperatures, salinity have blank effects on the coral's growth and reproduction. That is, this right here is called an M dash. It's also like a colon. It can be used as a colon. You're basically going to do a restatement clue. That is to see if changes in these conditions are linked to significant, substantial, Acceptable, not a lot. Substantial goes with significant. Let's read it with substantial. To determine whether environmental factors such as water temperature and salinity have a substantial effect on coral's growth. That is a significant variation in coral health. That works there. Acceptable isn't enough. A substantial is what's working here. Again, we're looking around, reading the whole thing, just sort of being aware of everything at once. Let's have a look at the answer choices here. And again, we're talking vocab. We have elusive, predictable, straightforward, and commonplace. Well, predictable, straightforward, and commonplace are all very similar. We're going to call this the 3-to-1 strategy. This happens sometimes on the SAT, not every single question, but some of the questions. And you can then say, you know what, predictable, straightforward, and commonplace are all kind of similar words. 3-to-1. The one that is not similar is the answer, obviously, because you can only have one correct answer. Let's read it. Researchers have been investigating the phenomenon of lucid dreaming, which occurs when a person becomes aware that they are dreaming and can sometimes control the dream narrative. I shouldn't have even read that. That was too much. I should have started here. This state of consciousness is elusive, but offers potential insights into the workings of the human mind, but signals an opposite or an antonym or something the opposite of what's here. So if I have elusive here, insights into the workings is the opposite of elusive. Elusive means like you can't really see it or touch it. Elusive dreams are sort of elusive, right? Because we dream them and then we sort of forget them, right? And they're hard to study. So they're hard to kind of put your finger on. That's elusive, but this study offers potential insights. Insights is the opposite of elusive. That's why it's the best one here. All right. Again, thinking like a test maker, not a test taker. And I have very detailed answer choices here for you, or answer explanations, I should say, and all of my things. So you can have a look at that. Again, you can get these questions on our website. If you just go to free prep and KMJ Learning, you can get the download. It's also in the description of this video. And again, my name is Kathleen Jasper and I help people pass exams. Now, I do a lot of math. I am not a math teacher. I'm here to show you how to do the math quickly with all the tricks. I'm like the opposite of the math teacher. In fact, some people get mad at me because I teach people sometimes things that are not showing your work. You do not want to show your work on this test. You want to get the correct answer as quickly as possible. All right. And this is one you're going to see on the SAT, on the digital SAT for sure. You're going to have, you've got equations here, and then it says the result of shifting the graph up 3 units. It might say shifting down 3 units. You will get a math question like this, most likely, okay? When we're talking about up 3 units, we're talking moving it up on the y-axis 3. Go with the most obvious answer. Don't go, oh, that's 2 on the nose. You know what? If it's 2 on the nose, it's probably the answer. Grab it. This is the y-intercept. This is the y-intercept. -3 is moving it down. Let me show you what this looks like on the graph. This is what it looks like here. All right. So I went into Desmos, and I'm a big proponent of Desmos, and I say use it. For this, you don't need it. Just go up 3 units, go with +3 here. But let me show you what this looks like on the Desmos calculator on the graph, or on the coordinate plane, I should say. 5x to the 4th. I went ahead and put that in there. That's this red line right here. Let me move this. This Grammarly is killing me. It's always in my way. Okay. So we've got this red parabola here. Now, if I go 5x to the 4th -3, notice it goes down 3. Down on the y-intercept. +3, notice it goes up 1, 2, 3. There it is, okay? That's why this A is the answer. The other ones don't work either. This is 5x to the 1 because 4 minus 3 is 1. And this is 5x to the 4. This gives a similar parabola as this one here. It's just a little bit wider. So up 3 means we need to move up the y-intercept, this +3. Now, if it said we need to move it down 3 units, we would go with this -3 here. This is all over the place. Just know we're moving it up and down the y-intercept, either up 3, down 3, up 5, down 5, whatever the number is, it doesn't matter. We're talking about the y-intercept. All right, let's have a look at question number 2. Now, this one, I've seen a few of these. We want to make sure that whenever we see anything where we have a quadratic here and then we have something that says has no real solutions, that should signal to us to find the discriminant. And the way we find the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. Okay. Just sort of remember that, those of you who are really great math students, you would know this right away, but try to get some signal words here, no real solutions. And there are no answer choices here. So I can't just try to use my answer choices to plug and play. I have to work this out. Okay. Now I did graph this on the Desmos calculator just to see, because whenever I have a quadratic, I graph it. So x squared minus 20 plus c. And if I go down here, if I zoom out, nope, why do I not have it? X squared minus 20x. Sorry, that's the problem. 20x minus c, right? Let's just go here. There we go. It did graph, and you can see that it's at negative 100. Well, the answer is 100. So there's something going on here with Desmos that I'm not catching. And if you're in the comments and you know how to use Desmos just by graphing this one piece and just knowing that you should go the opposite of what the vertex is, the opposite sign, positive 100, that's what I'm thinking. But I don't know. I'm going to do it the long way because I'm not sure if Desmos is going to help me there. So if it does help you, let me know in the comments. But anyways, let's have a look at this. I'm going to just use my equation to find the discriminant here, and it's b squared minus 4ac. And this right here is a, this is b, this is c. So a equals 1 because that's 1x squared, right? B equals negative 20, and c equals c. C is just c here, okay? So that's fine. All right, so we have a equals 1, b equals negative 20. So let's go ahead and plug it into this right here. So I have b squared, so that's negative 20 squared minus 4ac. And one other thing, whenever it has no real solutions, that means this whole thing is less than 0. It's negative. It's less than 0. Okay, so negative 20 times negative 20 is 400 minus 4ac less than 0. Actually, you don't need this a. Sorry, it's just 4c. I apologize. The 4 is the a. There we go. Let's go that back again. So we have negative 20 plus negative 20 squared minus 4a, which is 1c. So this was really, I jumped ahead a bit. 4, 1c. Well, 4 times 1 is 4, and times c is c. So 400, because negative 20 times negative 20 is 400, minus 4c is less than 0, because we have no real solutions here. So we're going to add 4c. We're going to add 4c here, and we get 400 is less than 4c. Divide by 4, and we get 100 is less than c. And the answer is 100. So I did graph it on Desmos, and it did give me 100, but it was negative 100. So I'm not sure how we would apply that. If you know, let me know in the comments below. Okay, question 3 is one I want to pay close attention to because it's really hard. It's not that it's super hard. It just takes a lot of time. And what I've seen them do is they put this question at number 23, which means you have one more question after this on the SAT digital test. So if you're being strategic and you are really trying to gain a good score on this, I want you to pay attention. Anytime you're given something like this, where you have two equations of a line in standard form, and in the scenario here, it says that they are a pair of perpendicular lines, and then you have A, B, C, and D, and you have the option of picking which other set is also perpendicular. This is a 3 to 5 minute problem. Now, the reason why I want you to be strategic is if this is number 23, right, on your test, that means there's a 24, because there are 24 questions on the math for module 1 and 24 questions for the math for module 2, right? So what they're doing here is they're giving you this Big old question that takes forever to solve so that you'll get all wrapped up in this. You've only got, let's say you only have 6 minutes left on the clock or 3 minutes left on the clock or 2 minutes left on the clock. You still have one more question. I recommend grabbing one of these, and it doesn't matter which one. Let's just say we grab C. Go do number 24. Check 24. See if it's easy, because 9 times out of 10, it's going to be easier than this one. Do that one first, then come back to this one, because I'm going to show you how long this one is going to take, even with Desmos. I'm going to do half and half on this. You can't do the whole thing in Desmos. You have to do half and half. At least I think you have to do half and half. If that's not true, let me know in the comments and send me a video of it not being half and half. But there's a couple things that have to be done here. I've tried using Desmos the whole way. It doesn't work. But just know this is a very long problem. It's totally doable. But I want you to make sure that if number 24 is a question you would have gotten correctly, and you spent your whole time on this and you ran out of time, you didn't even get a chance to go to number 24, that would not be strategic. That would be falling into the trap. The trap here is do this hard one first, so you run out of time for number 24. No, I'm going to grab an answer because we want to make sure we answer everything on this test. And then I'm going to go do number 24. And then when I do that one quickly, I'm going to come back to number 23. All right. So let me show you how to do number 23. So let's pretend we went ahead. We saw that number 24 is much easier. We went ahead and did that. Now we're back to this one, number 23. Okay. I have 2 lines here in standard form. It says that C and D are constants, which means whatever C turns out to be in here and whatever D turns out to be here, they will also be that here. And then it says the graph of this pair of equations is perpendicular. Which of the following of these equations are also perpendicular? So is this line 6x plus 8y equals 1 perpendicular to cx minus 2 dy equals 1, and so on and so forth. Here's another pattern on these questions that I've seen so many times. This first line here, this first line here, this first line here will all be the same, which means you don't have to keep solving it. You'll know what the slope is of these 3 lines over and over again. So you only have to find the slope of the next line to determine if they're perpendicular. D on all of these that I've seen on the practice test from College Board is the one weird one. It's the one outlier. Okay. And in all of the ones that I've done, which have been a ton of practice tests, the answer tends to be within one of the ones with the same first line here. But I would be careful of that. That is a pattern I've seen. Pay attention to it, but let's go ahead and work these out. I don't want to say like you always pick those, because that may not be it. All right, here's what we need to do. We need to put both of these equations in slope-intercept form, figure out the slope, and then the opposite reciprocal. Let's start with it right here. Let's start with 3x plus 4y equals 1. All right, I want to isolate this y by turning this into slope-intercept. Y equals mx plus b. Okay? So we have 3x plus 4y. So we're going to go 4y equals negative 3x plus 1. Because all I did was subtract 3x here. And then I moved it to the other side. Now it becomes a negative 3x. Okay. So if I want to isolate the y, divide by 4, divide everything by 4. And I get y equals negative 3 over 4x plus 1 over 4. I don't care about this. I care about this. The slope of this first line is negative 3 over 4. That means the slope of this line has to be what? If it's perpendicular, has to be the opposite reciprocal. All right. So we'll call this line 1 and this line 2. The slope of line 1 is negative 3 over 4. So that means the slope of line 2 is going to have to be positive 4 over 3. Opposite, if it's negative, it's positive, or if it's positive, it's negative. Reciprocal, 3 over 4 becomes 4 over 3. Flip it. Okay. Now that we have that, I still need to figure out what my C and D are, because I have to plug them in here. That's why this thing takes forever. All right. So let's do with this second line what I did here. I'm going to put it over here. Let me move this. Okay. We're going to go CX plus DY equals 1. I need to isolate the y. I need to put it into this y equals mx plus b here. All right. So I've got dy equals negative cx because I subtracted it on this side. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other, plus 1. This is a positive 1. I don't care about that. I only care about what's next to the x. Then divide by d, divide by d, divide by d. And I get negative c over dx. What does that equal? That equals 4 over 3. Because this is now the slope. And if these two lines are perpendicular, then negative c over d equals 4 over 3. Now here's another pattern. They do this every time on the practice test. Do you see how this is negative? Well, I don't want negative c over d. I want positive c, positive d, positive c, positive d. So let's go ahead and make the c and the d positive by just plopping the negative over here. So I get c over d equals negative 4 over 3. That means c equals negative 4 and d equals 3. Now we're going to use that on our lines. Now, we could now go ahead and do all of that for all 4 of these lines. Or this is now when I use Desmos. Now I can graph these and see which lines look perpendicular. And let me reset this so that I can get my lines straight. All right, here we go. So let's go here. Okay, and we've got my c equals negative 4 and d equals 3. All right, so let's do this. 6x plus 8y equals 1, right? Okay, there's my line. All right, there it is. Now, let's go ahead and substitute. What's c? C is negative 4. So this is negative 4x. I'm right here. Negative 4x minus, now we have 2 times d. What is d? 3. Okay, so that's going to be 6y, right, equals 1. Okay, those definitely do not look perpendicular, do they? No, definitely not. All right. Let's turn those off. Let's go to this one here. Same thing. Now I'm going to copy and paste. I've tried to copy and paste in the Blue Book on SAT. It doesn't work. You have to type it in, but to save time right here, I'm going to do that because it's the same exact one. All right. I have CX. So negative 4x because C is negative 4 because we're right here. CX plus dy, that's 3y. Negative 4x plus 3y equals 1. Oh, does that look perpendicular? That looks pretty perpendicular to me. Now, you really have to work it out by hand to see for sure. I mean, or you could zoom in, I guess, to infinity and really check this out. This looks very perpendicular on the test. It will be distinctive. Like it'll show like that this is definitely perpendicular. All right, so that one looks perpendicular. I'm going to turn it off just for the sake of us going through this. I'm going to do the rest of them to show you. But if I saw that, I would grab it and go. I wouldn't waste any more time. Let's go ahead and go to C here. We have 2cx, 2 times negative 4x. That's negative 8x plus dy, 3y equals 1. Okay, sort of looks perpendicular, but if I zoom in, you can see it's definitely not. It's a little wonky in there, okay? These two right here, B right now is my top perpendicular one. Let's just check. Now this one I can't copy and paste. I have 3x minus 4y equals 1. And let me turn these off here so I don't get confused. Okay, there's that. And let's go here. Cx, so C is negative 4, negative 4x plus dy plus 3y, because d is 3, equals 1. And I can already see these are not perpendicular. No. The ones that are perpendicular are 6x plus 8y equals 1, negative 4x plus 3y equals 1. There it is, and that's going to be B. Now you can see, even with Desmos, this took me forever. And if you were trying to do this by hand, you would have to do what we did here, like this whole process where I found the slope, found the perpendicular slope, then plug that in for C. I mean, it just becomes crazy. So I went half and half. You do have to figure out what C and D are, and then you can plug them in to these areas when you're using them on Desmos. So it's like a half and half. Now, if you're someone who knows how to do this entire thing on Desmos, tell me, because that will save a lot of time. And again, they're trying to trick you here. This one takes forever. They're putting it before the last question, or maybe before 2 questions. Go ahead and grab your answer, just guess. Then go do the 2 after this, because they might be easier, or the 1 after this, and then come back. Be strategic. When you are doing these tests and you want to get, 1,500, 14 something, you have to move beyond the math. You have to be thinking about the structure of the exam as a whole. And this is a trap. Big, long, crazy one that takes 5 minutes gets put in front of one that takes 2 seconds. Okay. Go to number 24, grab it, come back to 23. Okay. That will help you there. All right. Hopefully this makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to show you where you can get more resources. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. I am on TikTok and I am waiting to get to 1,000 followers. I just started this channel just a couple of days ago. So we're trying to go live. I go live on YouTube, but I'd like to go live on TikTok, and I can't until I have 1,000 followers. So go follow me there. Of course, let me just go here. Of course, I am live on my YouTube channel right now, but I go live almost every single day, and I have shorts, and I have all the different things you need here about SAT prep and others. We're going to be doing essays, GED, all kinds of stuff. So check me out here and definitely subscribe to this. And then if you would like more, and of course, this is where you would get the problems. If you want today's problems, go to kmjlearning.com. Under free prep here, you can click that, put in your name and email, and then it'll take you to a thank you page. And now there's probably a week or two's worth of problems here for you to have a look at. Also, if you're looking for more, I have a full SAT prep course online. This has a full practice test. I go through every single question. I talk about all of the strategies that you can do, full Desmos calculator training to get you acclimated with that. Very, very helpful. And I bet you will love it. So if you want to learn more, you can stay here on YouTube with me, subscribe. You can also find me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. If your parents are on Facebook, go to Facebook. But I have tons of resources for SAT prep. We are moving into GED, ACT, all of that. Remember, you can use the Desmos calculator on SAT. I got a couple questions like, can you use the Desmos calculator on test day? Yes, it's part of their tools in the actual test. So make sure you're using that, because it will help you, increase your score by hundreds of points. It's very, very helpful. We didn't use it a lot today. It does help to reinforce some concepts. That number 23 question, it certainly helped. Sometimes as soon as I see a quadratic, I just graph that and it gives me the answer right there. You'll see that on other problems that I've done. But today I wanted to go a little harder with the math because it's Friday. So anyways, if you have questions, put them in the comments below. I'll be happy to film whatever you're having questions about. I'm also going to be doing some essay stuff, some new stuff. Let me know if you have questions about, how do I write an essay? How do I cite sources? How do I do all these things? I will help you with that. Again, I'm Kathleen Jasper, and I hope you have a great day.